Hi everyone! Today we will be talking about simplifying expressions with not only the distributive property, but then also with the order of operations. In our last lesson, we looked at simplifying expressions by combining like terms after we use the distributive property. So today we're going to kind of do a little bit of everything that we've been learning about in our last couple of lessons. So distributive property, combining like terms, and using the order of operations to solve. So first, let's take a look at some problems that we might encounter as we solve these problems. So the first problem that I would like to look at is this one. All right, so where's my pen? All right, so example A, we have 2.4a minus 5 minus 2.5 times 3a minus 4. Okay, so first of all, I want you to notice that we have a lot of different operations happening here. So we're going to start within the parentheses just like we normally would with order of operations. If you notice, we can't combine these here, so we're going to come over here. This includes the distributive property. So we are going to start there, and we are going to distribute. So I have negative 2.5, and I want to multiply that by 3a. So I'm going to start with distributing negative 2.5 times 3. So I have 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1. And then I have 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. It's a negative, and there's one place after. So this is negative 7.5a. And then my next distributive property is right here. So I have negative 2.5, and I'm going to multiply that by 4. That gives me 20. And 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, and that's a negative, one spot over. All right, so I now have these two numbers and this. So we're going to rewrite the problem so that we can see what's happening here. Okay, so we're going to rewrite our problem. We have 2.4a minus 5 minus 7.5a minus 10. Okay, we are now ready to solve the rest of this by combining like terms. So we're going to combine our like terms, the things that are the same. I have a here and I have an a here. So I have 2.4 and I remove negative 7.5 from here. And so when I subtract those, 2.4 minus 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to try to subtract these, or I can add on the negative if I wanted to. So the difference here is 1, and the difference here is 5, and it's a negative because the negative is on the bigger. So I get negative 5.1a for my first part, and then my second part, I have negative 5 and negative 10. So if I have negative 5 plus a negative 10, that's all I have is negatives. So this is adding negative 15. So my final answer on this problem is negative 5.1a plus a negative 15. Okay, a lot of steps. It's easy to get tripped up when you're looking at these negatives and the positives, so pay really close attention to your rules here. Okay, all right, let's look at example B. All right, example B that we have has a half, so negative half, and it's negative half of 6n plus 4 plus 2n. So notice that there's like a little bit of extra here out to the side after the parentheses. So we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first, and then we will go to the outside. All right, so distributive. Negative 1/2 times 6 is negative 1/2 times 6 over 1 equals 6 over 2, which is negative 3n. And then I have half of 4, or negative half of a 4 is going to give us negative 2 plus the rest of this plus 2n. So we're going to rewrite the parts so that we don't miss anything. So we have 3n minus 2 plus 2n. That's our new problem. Now we're ready to combine things that are the same. I have I rewrote it wrong. This is negative 3n. There we go. Negative 3n plus 2n gives me negative 1n. And then I have this negative 2. All right. Do not forget those negative symbols as you're moving things through. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more problem, and then I'm going to give you a try it to solve. Great. There we go. All right. Example C. Example C is 6D minus 5 minus 8 times 3/4 D minus 1, and that's it. Okay, so now we're ready to solve. Again, this is another problem that looks really overwhelming and big, but let's just break it down and do the parts that we know we can do first. So we know how to use the distributive property, so that's where we're going to start. The first part of this is 8 times 3/4, or negative 8 times 3/4. So negative 8 over 1 times 3/4. 8 times 3 is negative 24. 1 times 4 is 4. So that right there gives us negative 6. Okay, and then the second part of this, I have negative 8 times a negative 1, which is going to give me a positive 8. Okay, let's rewrite our problem so that we know what we're working with. We have 6D minus 5 minus 6D, we forgot our D there, plus 8. All right. So now we're going to combine the things that are the same. Let's start with our D's. Here's a D, and here's a D. So if I had 6 D's and I removed 6 D's, I no longer have any D's left, right? So 6 minus 6 is 0. So that leaves me with negative 5 and 8. I have negative 5. I add 8 to it. That means I have a positive 3. Positive 3. All right, it is your turn now to do a try it or two. So here are your try its. All right, try it number 1. we have some more decimals here. 3.5 minus 1.5 times m minus 10. And try it number 2. We have 4/5 times 10w minus 5. Ooh, this is a double. Minus 2 times w plus 9. This is a double distributive model. Okay, go ahead and hit pause right now so you don't hear me solving, and then when you're ready, come on back and hit play. All right, so we have negative 1.5 times m. That gives us negative 1.5 m. Ooh, I like when they're like that. Then over here, we have a negative times a negative, which is going to give us a positive. So we have 1.5 times 10. That one's 0, and that's 0, 5 and 1. 0, 5, 1. And then we just move that decimal over one spot, so it's 15. So we're going to rewrite our new problem. We have 3.5 minus 1.5 m plus 15. All right, we have 3.5, and we're going to add 15. And then we just have negative 1.5 m. And then we're going to add on this. So 15 plus 3 is 18.5. So 18.5. How did you do on that problem? How was the solving for that? Okay, now we're ready to solve number 2. And number 2, oh, my dogs are gonna just go crazy and bark at each other right now. Okay, that's great. Negative 2 times w is negative 2w. And negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. All right, now let's do this fraction 1. I have 4/5 of 10, so I'm going to take 4 over 5, times it by 10 over 1. That gives me 40 over 5, which is 40 divided by 5 is 8w. Whew, that was a tricky one. And then 4/5 of negative 5. So I have 4 over 5. I'm going to multiply that by negative 5 over 1. I really prefer the fraction ones to the decimals. They seem just so much less challenging to do. So 4 times negative 5 is 20, at least to me anyways. And negative 20 divided by 5 gives me negative 4. Okay, now I am ready to put this problem back together. So I had 8w first, minus 4. Now I have minus 2w, minus 18. All right, here are the things that need to go together. W's. 8w minus 2w. So 8w minus 2w gives me 6w's. And then I have negative 4 and negative 18. All right, so if I start with negatives and I add more negatives, that's all I have is negatives. So I have 18, 19, 22 negatives. Look at that. So my answer is 6w minus 22. All right, how did you do on these two problems? How did you do? All right, go ahead and answer your essential question. How do we use the distributive model, combining like terms, and order of operations, it's like the trifecta right there, To solve these problems, what do we need to do? What's something that stands out to you? When you're finished, go ahead and rate your level of understanding out to the side. Where are you at with this? And then you can head on back to the Google Meet and ask for help if you need it, or you can go on and do your practice work. As always, I appreciate all of your hard work and effort, and make it a great day.